very, very much, Kim. And this is going to be the most interesting format we've ever had for a vacation extravaganza. And to give everybody a little history of vacation extravaganzas, we started doing this literally almost 27 years ago now. And we had a fall and a winter vacation extravaganza. Over the years, we've even had a summer vacation extravaganza. And the whole purpose and the format in the very beginning was the same as it is now, and that's to give people the information they need on all the different segments of the vacation industry that we offer anyway, so you can help make the best decision that you can possibly make on the kind of vacation you want to take next, or the one after that, or the one after that, or the one after that. A lot of this is designed to have opportunities to consider vacation options for not just this next year, but the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that. So we this time we'll do this virtually, and while it will be not what I would prefer, it's kind of the way it has to be right now, and we'll just make the best out of it. So we decided if things are going to be different this year, let's really make them different. And as you all know, that's ever been to one of our vacation extravaganza seminar and sales, we have the vendors in from all the different segments of the vacation industry, from ocean cruises, river cruises, all-inclusive resorts, land-based tour operators, sometimes the insurance company representatives, some specialty vendors that we deal with too. So, and we do it on a Saturday, and normally we start at 9 and we end at anywhere from 2 to 4. And so it's a long, busy day for us, but a good day. This time it's going to be so different as we're seeing right now. And we decided, hey, if it's going to be that different, let's make it different in all ways. And we're going to do these seminars all week long. And today we'll start off with the COVID-19 health and safety protocols, and we're going to do things by panels. We're going to let the panelists that you see on the screens from all the different industries share what they know and what maybe their crystal ball is, or what they see that's happening in the industry. And please understand, a lot of the questions and policies are not going to be there. The questions can't be answered, or the policies are not in place until they open up. Sometimes those policies are in place in advance. So we'll let you know based on the different industries. Then every day this week, we'll follow up with, we'll have a specific segment of the vacation industry. For example, today is on health and safety protocols, both now 2 and then 6 o'clock tonight. Tomorrow will be the ocean cruise industry, talking about all the vendors from the ocean cruise industries, talking about what they feel and what they see will happen, and what peace of mind programs are out there for you, this sort of thing, what it'll look like when it opens up. And by the way, things are looking good. Boy, there is light at the end of the tunnel. But going on, then on Wednesday, the river cruise industry reps will be on talking about the same thing with river cruise lines. And then on Thursday, the all-inclusive world will be open to you, which is open right now. And we'll be sharing what's open and where, and what the policies are, and what things are looking like with availability. Here is one industry segment that is open, so we can give you ideas of what we feel that the parts of the industry that are not open yet, such as river cruises or ocean cruises, will look like when they do open up. And right now it's hypothetical, because until the ocean cruise industry or river cruise industry says what they are allowed to do and what they will do as far as occupancy and everything else, they don't know, but we'll know shortly. And we want to always be the conduit for information from our vendors to you, our customers. And we've done that for 31 years. Right now, it's more important than ever before. But to finish out the week, then on Friday, we'll have the tour operators that will be sharing with what they feel that part of the industry will look like after it opens up. And we have some good news that some things are even opening up here in November in the United States. So there are some positive things going on. There's successes already in the all-inclusive world. They've been opened up for several months now in Mexico, Jamaica, a little bit, Dominican Republic, and they've had successes on how they've done their health and safety protocols. And so that's really, really good news. There is successes in Europe with a couple of the cruise lines, the ocean cruise lines that are open in the Mediterranean right now, and they've had successes. Same with the river cruise industry over in Europe, not to American customers, but to European customers. So we've got some prototypes and some things that we are seeing that that will help us counsel you as to what we think that the near future will look like. So with that said, I want to thank you. Never before, my gosh, never before have we wanted to say thank you, not only just to our vendors here that are on and taking their time out, but especially all of our clients that have kept us in business for 31, going on 32 years. 32 years on November 14th, by the way, for Mimi and I, and we appreciate so very much our staff, so very much our customers, and so very much our partnerships with all of our vendors. So with that said, Kim, let me say adios. I'm going to go get ready for the big game tonight. Dan, hopefully the Chiefs and the Packers meet in the Super Bowl. But until then, we'll talk vacations. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you, Mark. And thank you to everybody for joining us today for our COVID-19 Health and Safety Protocol panel. I am Kim North, the travel counselor here at Cruise Holidays, and I will be your host for this afternoon. Alongside me are going to be Megan Dawson and Kate Hollinger. They're going to be our moderators. So if you have any questions throughout the course of the panel, they'll be here to monitor your comments and questions, and they'll chime in whenever necessary. This is the first time, as Mark said, that we've ever attempted anything like this. So I'm sure there's going to be bumps along the way, and I appreciate you taking your time out of your day to hang in there with us. For the best viewing, if you're on a desktop or a laptop, click speaker view in the upper right-hand corner. That way, whoever is talking will come up front and center. Everybody should be muted right now, and that's just for the best audio experience. That way there's no background noise or interference. And if you do have questions, we do encourage you to use the chat feature. Mark went over our previous extravaganzas. This is going to be completely different. Instead of normal presentations like what you may be used to, we've actually compiled a list of questions for our vendors. So I'm going to be asking those specific questions to specific panelists. And our hope, as Mark said, is that this will give you an overview of what each vendor is doing in light of COVID-19 to help keep everyone safe. And as Mark said too, we don't have a crystal ball, so know that these are not the end all be all answers. Policies and protocols are always subject to change. But with that being said, let me go ahead and introduce our panelists. We've got Abe Hughes with Royal Caribbean.
That's me.
Hi there, we've got Robin Piper with the Globus family of brands.
Hi guys.
We've got Lisa Presley with Norwegian Cruise Lines.
Hi everyone.
We've got Dan Piehler with the Velvet Collection featuring Insight Vacations in Uniworld.
Hi everybody.
We've got Michelle Payette with Playa Resorts.
Hi guys.
And last but not least, we've got Jerod Evans with Regent 7 Seas.
Hi, how you doing?
So if everybody's ready, I say we go ahead and jump on in. The first section of questions are going to be more protocol-based questions. And as Mark said, until the ships can get in the water and officially test things out, we know nothing is going to be set in stone. But I'm going to hand this one to Michelle first. Michelle with Playa Resorts, what safety and sanitation protocols are you currently doing to keep people safe? Are there temperature checks? Are you allowing for social distancing? What are you guys doing at your resorts?
Yeah, so I have been lucky enough to be back down in Mexico twice in the last month, just really going down to experience these new protocols. So with Playa Resorts, we've got 18 different all-inclusives in Mexico and the Caribbean, and we have developed what we call our Safe Stay protocol. Two of the brands that we represent are the Hyatt and Hilton all-inclusives, and they have truly spent millions of dollars really creating these new ones. Hilton has partnered with Lysol and the Mayo Clinic to come up with these, and then we've just adapted them into our hotels. So I can attest, I live in Wisconsin, which our numbers are a little high right now. So and Mark, I know Mark and Kim both were down at our resort, which I think is right in back of Mark's head there. Yeah, our Hyatt Ziva Cancun. So you guys will have known as well. So we do temperature checks upon arrival. Actually, anytime you leave the resort and come back, you will always get temperature checks. In the room, we have little stickers over all of the doors. So you are the first one to crack open that sticker. That sticker just symbolizes that that room has been unoccupied for a minimum of 24 hours since the last guest checked out, just so we can have time for plenty of deep cleaning. Anytime you go in any of our restaurants, our bars, our shops, one thing that we've added is shoe sanitation, which some people were like, well, what is that for? But really think about, you have gone through the airport, you've gone from the United States, and your feet are filthy. So now you'll see two boxes of sanitation, and you just step in one to kind of, just a liquid that cleans your shoes, and then you step to the left that dries them off. As far as social distancing, absolutely. So by the pools and on the beach, we've moved our cabanas to adhere to the 6 feet. In our restaurants, all of our tables, we cannot have more than 6 people at a table, and all the tables have been moved so they are 6 feet apart as well. We're also working on a rotating basis. So not all of the restaurants will be open every single night, just because lower occupancies out, obviously. But we'll always have we're accepting reservations just so we can help staff those properly. Buffets is a big question we get. We did keep our buffets open. They just look a little different now. Especially for our family resorts, buffets are very important to families because you've got 8 million different types of food preferences. So we wanted to still cater to that. They're just no longer self-service. We now have the tempered glass up at each station, and then one of our staff is manning those stations. So you can still eat and drink all you want. It's just somebody else is plating it for you rather than everybody working out of the same buffet. So hand sanitizers throughout. We have PPE kits for everybody with hand sanitizers. We do offer a mask if you want to wear one, as well as wipes in every room. And then as far as our staff, 24/7, they will be completely covered in the PPE to make sure not only they're safe, but you guys are safe as well.
That's a lot, but that's all really good information to have. Thank you for sharing. I know, Robin, I think you've talked about Avalon and some kind of static technology. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. So we're using a combination of electrostatic technology and ultraviolet technology. So essentially, from the time that they arrive, your luggage will be sanitized before it is taken to your room. And then also, that's what we're using to clean all of our cabins and our public spaces is the electrostatic. So it allows us to spray any item in our guest rooms. So for example, the wall coverings, the curtains, the anything that we normally can't just take out of the room and clean. Now, even hangers, we're using the electrostatic technology for that. And it dissipates in about 30 seconds. There's no film or anything on it, but it does, it does give us a great amount of security for our customers. In addition to that, on Avalon, and I'm sure Dan will say the same, and our cruise partners, but we don't recirculate air from one cabin to another. Every cabin has its own HEPA filter and has its own fresh air system. So you can, know that you're safe and sound in your stateroom as well. But we're really embracing technology, temperature checks when you come on and off the ship, just a real overall commitment to clean and cleaning more often, and also, social distancing folks.
Awesome. Dan, I don't know if with the rivers not necessarily operating for US and same for ocean as well, is there any insight or protocols that maybe you've heard about you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll speak to Inside Vacations first. So, when you think of Inside Vacations guided tours, so we think of groups. And what we're doing with Insight is we're being really proactive with the protocols, which I think is something we have to do. So we're excited about what we're doing and what we're introducing this year, outside of protocols like, cleaning our coaches and making sure they're sanitized and all the masks and the social distance. Is we're introducing someone called the Wellbeing Director that'll be on all of our tours going forward. So the Wellbeing Director, you think of a guided tour, you have your driver, you have your tour director, and now we have a Wellbeing Director. So 3 people on our tours that are there to help you out to make sure we're as safe as possible. And really the primary role of the Wellbeing Director is they're not a doctor, they're not a first responder, they're not a nurse, but they're there to make sure everything is taken care of, make sure our guests have peace of mind, and make sure everyone's comfortable. So basically what they'll do is they'll work with our guests. If an issue arises, if they have any questions, they'll work with those guests, make sure they're doing okay. They'll monitor all the safety protocols, all of the people we partner up with, whether it's the hotels we stay at, the different experiences we have in our tours. They'll make sure that those people are going on our similar safety guidelines. So it's just someone there extra to have in place to make sure we're being as safe as possible and that our guests are comfortable the whole time. So we're doing those. They're going to be doing the temperature checks every day, making sure people are healthy, monitoring symptoms, things like that, and just making sure everything is clean as well. So that's a little bit about what we're doing at Insight Vacations. And on the Uniworld side, we're not going to necessarily have a well-being director on board, but we're doing the same thing. Stringent protocols. We'll have the temperature checks there. We'll make sure everything is clean as possible. Staterooms are clean and sanitized every day, and things like that. So again, it's an evolving situation, right? We don't know exactly what things are going to look like 3-6 months from now, but we'll continue to upgrade our protocols as they come. And we're doing a lot of great things right now to make sure our guests will feel as safe as possible. So a lot of good things going on for both brands.
Fantastic. I know the ocean cruisers, it might be a little different. I don't know if all those policies have been put in place yet. Jerod, do you have anything that you want to share? Put you on the...
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a lot of similarities here that have already been mentioned. One thing that I can say, however, is, we have uniquely formed a healthy sail panel. I know Abe over at Royal Caribbean and Lisa there at Norwegian, of course, our parent company. We work together to be able to put together what we call our healthy sail panel. And just with that, we have 2 co-chairs that share, Governor Michael Levitt and Dr. Scott Gottlieb. And most recently, we were able to have our CEOs, Mr. Fain and Mr. Del Rio, join a couple other of our ocean cruise partners in a meeting with Vice President Pence to be able to deliver this healthy sail panel and these specific recommendations. A lot of these recommendations that have previously been mentioned, of course, by Michelle, Robin, and Dan, are all very similar. And again, they're all recommendations at this point. So in our document, it was 65 pages, 74 best practices, and of course outlined a lot of the major items that we've already talked about in regards to the social distancing aspect, no food, no self-serve food services, sanitation, air filtration, staggered embarkation. All of these points are going to most likely be put in place. But as I mentioned, everything right now at this point is simply recommendations. And to Dan's point, it just continues to be an evolving situation, and we're working through this day by day as we continue to move forward and getting our ships back to return to sail.
Yeah, absolutely. I think those are great points. I think Healthy Sail Panel is going to make a lot of people feel more comfortable knowing all these people are working on behalf of these cruise lines to help make them feel more safe. Lisa, Abe, do either of you have anything you want to add?
Go ahead, Abe, because Jerod's actually with me. We're under the same umbrella.
Oh yeah, for sure. So the Healthy Sail Panel itself is really something unique, and it is a joint venture between multiple lines, simply because when it comes to ocean cruising, the one thing we may compete for guests out there, but we never compete on health and safety. So anything that's good for the industry will always share those best practices across the board. And as Jerod had mentioned, there's a Healthy Sail Panel put forward all of these recommendations, and from that approval process, then our protocols and our procedures will then come from a cruise line to cruise line basis. But I think it is important to identify those 5 areas of focus that the Healthy Sail Panel did put through. There was number 1, testing, screening, and exposure reduction. There's the sanitization and ventilation, response, contingency planning, and execution, and then destination and excursion planning, and then mitigating the risks for the crew members. So those are the 5 pillars throughout that entire Healthy Sail Panel. And from there, we'll be able to diagnose a little bit further as those approvals are being done by the CDC. And fingers crossed, it's going to be very, very soon. And we are so close and so ready to go to get back to sailing. It's exciting.
I think we're all really excited to get back to sailing and just traveling in general. We've all been cooped up for way too long. Moving on to the during travel experience. Again, I know a lot of this might be kind of hypothetical, but I think a lot of people are going to want to know what to expect while they're traveling. I know, Abe, a new protocol, I guess. The one thing that most people hate about cruising is the muster drill. And Royal Caribbean's come out with a really new thing called Muster 2.0. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you who have cruised before, and this goes way back to the Titanic days, and we don't want to talk about that. But anyway, it's all about safety in case of an actual emergency. And way back when, mustering is a German term. It means to gather. Well, in a day that we're living in today, the last thing we want to do is gather in large groups. And we have developed this technology, and we're sharing it again with the entire industry for those who wanted to adopt it. But this is actually something that Royal Caribbean has come up with prior to COVID. As a matter of fact, we tested this for the very first time on board Symphony of the Seas back in January, before any of this was even out. But it's essentially, for those of you who have sailed before you set sail, you have to go and physically go to your emergency station so you know what to do and where to go in case of an emergency. But e-mustering is actually taking the technology that we have available on board our ships and putting it into your hands in order to essentially, once you board the ship, you have a 4-hour window to watch a safety video. You can do that from the Royal Caribbean app. You can watch it on your stateroom television. You acknowledge that you understand the information. Then you go physically to your emergency station where a crew member would be there to check you off and give you any additional information or ask any questions that you have. And that is a much more engaging and interacting way with actually keeping the social distancing and physical distancing, number one. Number two, you don't ever have to stop your vacation in order to go and do a big muster drill that takes 30, 45 minutes to an hour. It's a seamless experience from the time that you board all the way through sail away. There's not going to be that big interruption. And the best thing is between the United States Coast Guard and all of the governing bodies of safety at life at sea, SOLAS, as well as many more, they've all checked off on this and said, this is brilliant. We love it. And like I said, this is something that we've been working on for over a year, but this just gave us the excuse to roll it out even faster into our entire fleet. And that's out. And it's the first thing that you're going to be experiencing coming on board our ships. It's great.
Which I think a lot of people are going to be really excited about, because I don't know a single person who gets on a ship and says, yes, I can't wait to do the muster drill.
Oh, I know. The muster drill. Where is that?
Yeah.
Go by the ketchup. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the next kind of point of contention, I think, for a lot of folks is going to be what the new norm will be for your meals and your buffets. I know Michelle touched a little on that with the assisted buffets and things like that. And again, without real protocols in place for those ocean cruisers, I do want to toss this one to Jerod to see if they have any ideas on maybe what that might look like. Although I think Jerod might have disappeared.
Yeah, I did disappear. I don't know what happened with my camera. It's spinning right now, but I am still on the line, so I can hear everything. You just can't see me.
That's great.
For the moment. In regards to, just buffet, the only thing that we know at this point is really, we know the fact that it's going to be it's not going to be self-serve. It's going to be through the crew members. Obviously on Regent itself, I can speak to, it's much smaller, more intimate, setting as well, only 750 guests or less. So there's not as many buffets. There are still on board. So I don't see it being any sort of an issue. And I know that they're doing this successfully, of course, as Mark mentioned, over in Europe, MSC, and they haven't had any issues with it. So I think everything there is going well. And I anticipate that being the same specifically on Regent as we go forward.
Robin, do you kind of see the same for your Globus family? Because I know a lot of times you go to restaurants if you're doing the land portions, if you're doing the motor coach touring. So what do you foresee, or do we know at this point?
We do know that we will be stepping away. We don't have too many buffets when we take folks on tour, but now we will be having more variety of a la carte choices. So that's pretty easy to manage. On the Avalon side, we only had limited, like at breakfast and sometimes at lunch, we might have a salad bar or something like that. All those items will now be available a la carte. We'll have more menu choices, and we will have more venues available for them to dine in so that we can keep people socially distanced. Things like our coffee, tea, and cappuccino that are complimentary, that were typically self-service, those will now be manned stations. And in the bars on Avalon, we will be doing table service rather than folks lining up at the bar. So just a few quick, easy enhancements to make sure that, everybody gets all the goodies that they want.
Awesome. The next question, and this again, grab your crystal ball. When cruising resumes, do you anticipate all your dining and entertainment options will be open? I know Norwegian, you're known for having your fantastic entertainment. Do you foresee that showings might be limited, or maybe you'll have more showings to make up for the capacity restraints that might be in place?
Well, the ship capacity is definitely going to be happening. So we're also going to be reducing the capacity within the shows and the dining venues too. But at this point, all systems are go for the shows and the dining. It's just going to be a matter of the seating will just be a little bit more limited.
More spaced out probably, for sure. The next question is when or if masks will be required when you're vacationing. I know from my personal experience at Playa, it was not required everywhere. Do you want to kind of go into a little bit more detail about that, Michelle?
Sure. So we go by the government standards. So it depends on what country you're in. In Mexico, the guests, obviously our staff is always required to wear them 24/7. Guests though are not required. You will be wearing them obviously in the airport, but once you get on property, you are not. So it's hard to say. Even at each one of our resorts, I noticed it's a little bit different as far as like the percentage of people wearing them, but it is totally to your comfort level. In Jamaica, they are a little bit more strict with the masks on site. So pool and beach is really the only place that you're not supposed to have them. The rest are obviously when you get into the restaurants, you can take them off when you're eating and drinking. But in all the common areas in Jamaica, they are required right now. And it's just a fluid situation. These change monthly. We're getting updates, but again, we just go by whatever the government mandate for that country is.
Yeah, awesome. Dan, I know it's a lot of hearsay, and do you have any policies of whether or not that's been discussed for any of your products?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have a lot of people that are like, "Dan, we want to travel. Do we have to wear masks? Do we have to wear gloves? Things like that." And just like Michelle said, it really depends on the country a little bit, and it's going to depend on what those requirements are for each individual location. We will, at least on the Inside Vacation side and on Uniworld, we will provide masks, and it's all about their comfort level. If they want to have masks, they can wear masks. We'll have those available. But again, it really depends on the countries. If a country's like, hey, you need to have masks the whole time, this is what we need to have, then we'll do that. So it really depends. But again, we're going to do everything we can to abide by CDC, World Health Organization standards to make sure we're complying with all those guidelines that they recommend.
Awesome. And this one, actually, Dan, I'm going to toss this one back to you. Are you limiting capacity at all, or do you expect your tours to have a limited capacity? Your Insight product is a little unique because your motor coaches are already at a limited capacity because you've taken seats out and redone them. So that might actually work to your benefit. Have you heard anything about capacity on touring being limited?
We kind of automatically social distance a little bit. It's kind of nice, but that is one of the benefits of Insight is we do have those smaller groups. So typically the max group is about 40 guests. The average size is about 33, and we have double legroom on the coaches. So you do have a lot of space between you and the other person. So again, it depends what are the requirements are by the time we are traveling again. If we need to have multiple coaches on some of our classic tours with 40 people, then we'll do that. Then we'll do that if we need to socially distance. But one thing we have done is this year for 2021, we've introduced small groups. So our max size would be 24 guests on a tour. So there you go. We can definitely social distance there when we're on the coach. But we've also come up with a new idea, which is kind of like creating your own travel bubble. So it's your small private group. As long as you have 11 guests or more, we can create a small group for you and you can travel in your own little bubble. So we're doing a lot of things. A lot of different options here going forward to make sure we're being as safe as possible and can socially distance and comply by all the standards that are out there at the time we travel. So a lot of good stuff here going forward.
Awesome. Abe, do you have any ideas on whether or not ships will be limiting their capacity when you are able to sail? Has that been a discussion at all?
That is actually part of the Healthy Sail Panel recommendations, is having a limited capacity, limited numbers, et cetera, et cetera. So again, based on the Healthy Sail recommendations to the CDC, that will then in turn essentially go down to what we'll be doing, which, one could assume that would be the case based on the recommendations for sure.
Absolutely. And then I know from a resort standpoint, since those are open and fully operating, Michelle, I know it's based on destination, but can you talk about like Mexico Stoplight and how they're limiting capacity there? And if you know of any other destinations that might be limiting in terms of resort capacity?
Yeah, right now it's just Mexico for us, and it's even different by each state. So Puerto Vallarta and Cabo, we can still only sell up to 30% occupancy. And those resorts we just reopened last month. So we're still working with that. Cancun Riviera Maya basically has been open since July 1st. And they also started at 30% capacity, but they're really following these protocols and doing really well with keeping numbers low. So about 3 weeks ago, that did get bumped up to the next color. So now we can sell up to 60% occupancy at anything in Cancun Riviera Maya right now.
Awesome. The next segment, I mean, before I actually move on, does anybody else have anything that they want to add to that conversation about capacity, entertainment, meals, masks, anything like that?
Cam, I do have a quick question that I know some clients are wondering about.
Sure.
And it is based on the capacity of the ships. So if the ship is already sold, say they're sailing next August, and that itinerary has already sold staterooms past 50%, what do any of you guys know what you're going to do for the people who are booked and may need to be rebooked due to capacity?
Anybody want
From
to
a hypothetical standpoint, most likely we'll
Yes.
do like a Vegas roulette wheel with everybody's. No, I'm just joking. That's hard to say at this point in time. I know that I'm sure that every team is looking at it from every angle possible to ensure that to avoid any type of a guest disappointment and selling over certain percentages. Again, all hypotheticals, especially something that this is next August. I mean, that's 10 months out. We've come so far just in the last several months, and looking as we're progressing for the future, we're certainly hoping that we're going to be, thumbs up all the way around by then for sure.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything they want to chime
Thank
in
you.
on?
I'll just say that there'll be more information available as we finalize our plans to get back in the water. And it's an exciting time for all of us. So we all have our fingers crossed it's going to happen soon.
Yeah. Jerod, I think you had something you wanted to chime in on.
Yeah, no, and obviously with the reduced capacity, obviously in the future, it's more important now than ever to, book early, because obviously you have all of these past suspensions that we've all gone through. And at this point, those folks are already rebooked for the next year or the next year, depending on how far your calendar's open. And then you have everybody that didn't take a vacation this year that are just roaring to go again and want to book. So you really are going at a battle really with the limited capacity, and the booking early is going to be more important than ever. So I just encourage you to look at those itineraries that are available, start your planning now, and just work with your travel consultants at Cruise Holidays to be able to confirm that for you.
Yeah, that's actually a really great point. And that kind of takes me into my next question. And this is where we might have to grab our crystal balls a little bit, because these are all kind of the what ifs. The number one question I think I get as a vacation coordinator or counselor is, well, what's your refund policy? What if I don't feel comfortable traveling? Let me throw this one to Robin, because I know that you've got your peace of mind policy. Do you want to kind of share what that is about, and what would happen if I book a trip and then next year, let's say a vaccine doesn't come out and I don't feel comfortable? What happens now?
Absolutely. So with our peace of mind plan in 2021, any guests who want to book with us now or in the next couple of months, you have up until your final payment date to make a change to that to a later date in 2021 or even into 2022. And as long as you do that before final payment, there'll be no land or cruise penalties. So it really does give you the opportunity at 90 days prior or 45 days prior for Avalon just to assess the world, assess your family, decide what works best for you, and then decide how you want to move forward. We've been in business for 92 years, and we know that right now we need to be more nimble than ever before and take into consideration people's feelings, not just what's what's happening to them right now, but what they feel like might happen to them. So this is a complimentary service. It doesn't require any additional insurance. We don't ask why, we just help the counselors move the booking to a new date.
And Norwegian, Lisa, I want to ask that question to you as well, because I know ocean cruising has a little bit more flexibility when it comes to cancellations. What happens if I'm past my final payment and I decide I don't feel comfortable traveling?
Our peace of mind policy is a lot more flexible. If you're booked on any sailing through the end of October of 2021, you can cancel. And if you cancel, you will receive a full future cruise credit in the amount that you've paid.
Awesome. And that can be applied by when? What would the expiration date on those be?
Well, you actually have 1 year to make the booking, and then you have until the end of 2022 to continue your, I should say, to complete your voyage or complete your sailing.
Yeah. And that's, I think, going to be pretty standard with all of the cruise lines in general, with that future cruise credit if you decide to cancel. Does anybody have any policy in place where, let's say I contract COVID and I can't travel? That's obviously not me saying I don't want to go. I physically can't go. I don't know if that has been discussed. Does anybody have any cancellation policies regarding that in place? Anybody wants
Not
to try?
necessarily that level of detail. We do have essentially up to 48 hours before the voyage in order to cancel for that future cruise certificate. So most likely if you did contract the virus, you would know within 48 hours. So that would obviously fall under that. But any addition to it hasn't gone down to that level of detail quite yet.
Yeah. And then the next question is, what if I get COVID while I'm traveling? That's something that a lot of people are asking. Well, what happens if I'm in destination and I get sick? Obviously, I know that's going to depend on what country you're in. But especially from the resort standpoint, Michelle, I know that you guys have been open and operating. Have you guys encountered anything like that where someone might have had a temperature when they check in? And how would that be handled, or do we know at this point?
Yeah, so we have the temperature checks upon arrival. Now we are in all warm destinations as well. So we do know that it might just be that you're overheated from being on the plane and then rushing, all that kind of stuff. So if you do have a temperature upon arrival, we have a separate section of the hotel that we are not using right now, and it's strictly for quarantine purposes. So we'll just let you hang out there, get you some water to relax and try and bring that temperature down and hopefully you're just overheated. If you do persist to have one, we do have doctors on site each property has their own doctor. So we would go forward and find out if you have any other symptoms. And if it takes the point where you do need to get a test and you test positive, we do have a quarantine section at each one of our resorts that you would stay and quarantine at.
Well, that's good to know. I think a lot of people that weighs heavy on their mind. Well, what if I get to the destination and you don't ever want to think about worst case scenario, but I mean, you have to plan for it. So does anybody have anything else that they want to add to any of those questions that maybe I didn't toss over to you?
One of the areas that ocean cruising is going after, and one of the portions of the Healthy Sail Panel is the testing, screening, and exposure reduction. And CLIA, who is the oversees all of cruise lines in a sense of a Lisa, help me out on this one. They're an association essentially working with all cruise lines across the board, is having a negative test prior to boarding in all situations. So part of that reduction, part of that screening and testing is not just a matter of, are you feeling okay and what is your temperature? It is, I have a negative test, I may now come on board. So that's one of the areas that CLIA had announced for ocean cruising, which is exciting to see. And again, more information to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And then kind of the last closing question, if you will, is have you traveled during these times of COVID? And if so, what was your experience like? And I kind of want to open that up to everybody, obviously ocean cruises, you haven't been able to cruise, but if you've taken like a trip to see family or something like that, just kind of talking about your experience, maybe at an airport or on an airplane or staying in a hotel. So I don't know, Robin, do you want to start us off if you were so lucky to get out of town?
I have not, much to my family's chagrin. I have been here the whole time, and my teenage daughter would love for me to go somewhere, but I have not yet.
Lisa, what about you?
I can't stay home for very long. I have had the pleasure actually of flying, and I've just gone to visit friends. And I will tell you, I fly on, I won't mention the airline, but absolutely a breeze. Mask sanitizer, there was no problems. Everybody was very accommodating. Everybody was very friendly, and it was a very pleasant experience.
Awesome. Jerod, what about you?
Same here. I've taken a couple trips back home to Omaha and even traveling with the little one. So they've done a fantastic job on these airlines and even at these airports. I have to say, you know, like all of us, we travel quite often during the normal lifestyle, but I couldn't say that these planes, these airports, they're cleaner than they ever have been before. Truly, they are. I anticipate nothing less going forward in regards to all of our products and ships as we return to sail too. So they are handling it very well, even from the staff members, and very accommodating with hand sanitizers and everything. So it's been a pleasant experience.
Awesome. Dan, what about you? Have you had the chance to get out of town?
A little bit, not a whole lot yet. I haven't been on any of the airplanes or anything like that, but we've traveled a lot to visit family and whatnot across the Midwest. But you know, one thing we are planning to do is go out to the national parks, get out to Colorado here in the next couple of months. And from conversations I have had with people who have traveled, you know, the airliners have done such a great job with distancing and protocols, masks, and things like that. For someone who is going to travel here in the next couple of months, from what I've heard from people, it's very encouraging. So all around really good things I've heard, and definitely excited to get out of the house soon. So
Yeah, absolutely. Abe, what about you?
Yeah, well, first, Jerod, I think we're going to need to chat offline because I too go to Omaha home, so we might be related at some point. But yeah, my wife and my son and I, we actually flew down to Gulf Shores, Alabama, just before the hurricane actually hit. So we went down there and flew down there and had a great vacation. And you know, just being outdoors, being at the beach, you know, living here in the Midwest is one thing, and we need to have those, you know, changes in latitude or changes in attitude. So we had to get down and see the ocean here this summer. So we enjoyed that, and a couple more trips coming along as well. But always felt comfortable traveling. The airlines, the airports are doing a great job, and even our connecting flights through Charlotte or through Dallas and so on and so forth is everything just kind of felt good. We're getting back to some sense of normalcy for sure.
Absolutely.
Hey,
And then
Kim.
Michelle, I know. Oh, yeah, Mark.
Let me, I guess I think I've traveled more than the whole panel has. My gosh.
I don't know. I don't know if you beat Michelle.
Well, maybe not Michelle. I'm a close second, but as number two, Michelle, I'm going to try harder. So yeah, I did. In the end of July and August, I was invited by Playa to come down to Cancun, Kim, as you were, and we saw the safety protocols intact in place. We experienced the airplanes. I've been on, I think, 3 flights since then. I've been out to our place at Copper Mountain, Colorado 3 times this summer, and have driven and have flown both. But there's just no doubt, and I hope everybody listening today, the one thing I hope you'll get out of this is there will never be a time anywhere you go that will be more safer, and the protocols in place as they are now, and when they do come out, I can assure you that. I have just had, from what I've seen and what I've heard from all my peers across the country, and what I've experienced myself, whether it's airports or airplanes or transfer companies or the resorts themselves or the places in Colorado that I've been, it's probably the safest time in the history of this country, in the history of this world, to travel anywhere. And I'm so proud of what all of these companies that you're hearing today have done. And I'm talking about, and you guys, you vendors know this, millions upon millions of dollars of research to make sure that we are all healthy, and that our guests, as we send them to different type of vacation options, are healthy and safe. And more than that, and Michelle, I loved what your executive said when we were down there at the Hyatt in Cancun, is that we need more than safe, healthy places now. We need a place to have fun. We need to get back to enjoying life. And I think we are all in desperate need of that. So with that said, Yeah, I've traveled a lot and I feel it's safer now than it's ever been. And I'm planning on traveling again very, very soon. I've got 2 trips planned already here before the end of the year.
Awesome. Michelle, do you want to kind of
Mark,
touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I have traveled a bit since all of this. I was just actually in California this past weekend. So it's just so interesting to see how each state is different with where they're at with COVID. But really the airlines, just reiterate everything everybody else said, I feel safer than ever. Southwest is what I most frequently flew, and they have still committed to not selling the middle seats or the front and back row. So there's plenty of space on there. Those planes are only up to 70% occupancy right now. So you can spread out more than you ever have on that airline. So I commend them for keeping that going through this.
Yeah. And then Kate, I know that you actually just traveled at the end of September. And so I think you might have been the most recent, unless Michelle's traveled since then. So what about your experience did you find interesting?
I felt really safe, like they're saying, the entire time of travel. And we had our masks on until we got to the resort. And then we were able to take it off. But it seemed like because of the social distance, and they were still in yellow, so they were having, I think, 60% occupancy. But it felt like we were the only ones at the resort. We always had space between us and the other guests, so it didn't feel bad to not wear our masks. But that leads me to a really great question, too. I was wondering, the vendors on here, what you guys think about, do you have some great deals going on for 2021, 22, or do you think it's going to be opposite because we have so many people that just want to get out of town? Do you think there'll be higher prices in 21 and 22?
I don't know who wants to start that one.
Oh, I'll start with this one because this one gets me excited. I tell people now is the time to book because prices are good, rates are good. If you wait, it's going to be supply and demand, and those prices are going to go up. So if you're thinking about going on a vacation in 2021 or 2022, there's never been a better time to block that vacation, book it, put your money down on it, hold it, secure it, and start packing.
I think that's probably going to be the consensus for everybody. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, that's definitely the case. And actually, we have a program in place. It's called it's the best price guarantee. So you book now, and I wish we could do this with everything in life, but you book now and all the way up until 48 hours before your cruise. If you can find that same cruise on a lower rate, that will be converted into either a reprice to the cruise or a onboard credit, even beyond final payment and everything else. And I know Jack is excited about that, aren't you, Jack? Thumbs up. Maybe not. All right.
I do have one more thing to add. In fact, Abe, thanks for reminding me. As a show special that I have offered for Cruise Holidays of Kansas City, I am offering a $50 onboard credit to anybody who makes a booking through one of the agents at Cruise Holidays.
That was going to be my next question. Does anybody, is there an incentive or some kind of show special that you guys are offering that we can just talk about just to let people know that now is the time to book? And if you do book now, you get a little something for it. So I know, let's start with Robin. You're in the upper corner.
Okay.
Let's start with you.
Okay. Yes, of course, we always have a special exclusive offer for our friends at Cruise Holidays and for all your loyal guests. And that can actually be combined with our current promotions, national promotions. So we do have the suite upgrade promotion where you can upgrade to a panoramic suite on Avalon complimentary. We also have our 10% early booking discount on our land tours in Europe and North America, 5% off for our more exotic destinations. There's just a lot of goodness out there. And I agree, the early bird will definitely get the best price and will definitely get the cabin or the seat. So make sure that you plan ahead.
Awesome. And then is there an expiration date for any of those we need to be mindful of? Because that's going to be the biggest question, making sure we get in while the getting's good.
Yeah, so the suite upgrade is probably the most important right now. That one is scheduled to end on November 7th. And the show special will go 2 weeks from Friday. So it starts now and it'll go on for 2 weeks.
Perfect. Lisa, is there an expiration date for your offer as well that we need to be mindful of?
Friday the 23rd. So we're going to run it just this week.
Perfect. And then Abe, is there any show special or anything we need to be aware of for Royal?
Why, I'm glad that you asked that, Kim. Thank you. Yes, we of course have our regular monthly offers as well as the specific show special up to $100 onboard credit. That is going to go until the end of this month. So actually November 1st. So you have till November 1st. So it's up to $100 in onboard credit. And there's a special going on right now for all of Crown and Anchor Society members, which that's our loyalty program, double points. So that is amazing. I know. And for any point chasers getting to the platinum and emerald and diamond plus and pinnacle and aluminum foil levels and everything else, that is really special. So double points on that. And then kids sale, there's all sorts of, just contact the travel counselors. I can't keep it straight, but it's really good.
Dan, what about you? What about inside in Uniworld? Are there any offers we should be aware of?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Lisa hit on the head really well. You know, right now really is the best time to book. It's the best value right now because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You know, people are going to be ready to travel, and we're all really excited about that. So now is the best time to book to get the best value because demand will definitely go up here in the next few months, which is a good thing. We're excited about that. But on the Inside Vacation side and Uniworld side, we do have our early payment discount, which is you get if you book and pay in full, you save 10% on all of our tours. And on Uniworld, we also have a really special offer where you do get a save. It's our color Picture Perfect Savings, where you save $1,000 off per person on select Uniworld itineraries. So you have to talk to your cruise holiday advisor. They'll have all the information on which ones those are. But again, those are compatible and a lot of great deals right now.
Awesome, Jerod. What about you?
Yeah, we have a couple public offers right now that expire at the end of the month. We have what we call Elevate Your Experience. So for Europe, specifically on select voyages, we have up to a 2-category suite upgrade up to the penthouse suite. We also offer free first class air inclusive on any of our Alaska and Canada, New England voyages for 2021. Additionally, we're excited to announce on Wednesday, we will open our summer 2022, winter 22-23 season. So we're going to have more voyages available to book than ever before and have all of that available to you. And then exclusively with our friends over at Cruise Holidays to book directly with them, I'm offering a $300 shipboard credit for anything that's currently open and any of the new itineraries that we open come Wednesday, a $200 onboard credit. For those of you that don't know, Regent does offer a lot of inclusive amenities, one being shore excursions. What I will tell you, as we are in this social distancing lifestyle, we offer what we call small group touring, and those hold a nominal fee. So they're essentially the same tours that we're offering, but there is a fee for it to be in groups of 16 guests or less. So I encourage, obviously, to take advantage of those shipboard credits, to purchase some of those and be able to book your favorite itinerary, go on these wonderful tours in a more smaller, intimate type group by using those shipboard credits.
Yeah,
and that's a 2-week offer as well.
Perfect. Well, I think that wraps everything up for today. Those are all of the questions that I had. Is there anything else anybody wants to say in closing before I put a nice little bow on this?
Go Chiefs.
Yeah,
Thank
right?
you. At 4 o'clock today. Hey, Kim, you did not say anything about what Cruise Holidays is offering to thank our guests for booking with us within the next 2 weeks from today.
I was waiting for you to say that, Mark.
Well, you go ahead. You're the moderator. Do you want me to?
Go for it.
Okay. We do want to say thank you to all of our guests. So on top of whatever the vendor is offering you for the vacation you choose, we will also offer another $75 per booking discount. And if it's a river cruise, $100 discount. So there will not be a better time to book. That's for new bookings only. And again, everybody's got different policies. So it's either at the end of this week or through the next 2 weeks, depending on the vendor. But I sure appreciate you all giving up your time today and this entire week from 2 o'clock to 3 and then 6 o'clock to 7. And Robin and Dan, you can just, all the rest of you that are on tonight, you can just DVR the Chiefs game and watch it after you're done.
Yeah. And Michelle, I'm so sorry. I think I forgot to ask you if you have any specials going on.
Oh, actually starting tomorrow, we're over 2020. So our goodbye 2020 sale starts. So it's got up to 65% off and up to $200 resort credits. Each resort is a little different. It's anywhere from $100 to $200 in resort credits. And we extended our 24-hour cancellation policy. So as long as you book before the end of November, you are getting that 24 hours. You can cancel up until then, just to give that peace of mind with this fluid situation.
Awesome. Well, I'm sorry for skipping over you, but thank you. I just want to thank our entire vendor panel for attending this very different extravaganza this year. Thank you so much to all of our clients for attending this panel, discussing these kind of what ifs. We looked really hard into our crystal ball, and we hope we gave you some kind of peace of mind. So if you have any additional questions or would like information, or if you're ready to book your next vacation to take advantage of these offers, plus our offer, reach out to your vacation counselor. If you aren't sure who to contact, you can give us a call. Our number is 816-741-7417. Or you can email us at recep@chkc.travel, and we would be happy to help. So thank you again to everybody for your time. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And as Robin said, go Chiefs. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you. Great job.
We'll see you here at Perfect Day very soon.
Have a good one, guys.